Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining, and welcome to another session of our Day One and Beyond series, where we take you through various topics and activities related to building out on Oracle Cloud. Our today's session is the Day One and Beyond Oracle Modern Data Platform. So, in this session, we will cover how Oracle Modern Data Platform simplifies end-to-end data lifecycle and delivers faster time to insights. I like to introduce Riz and Rajib as the main presenters. And with that, I will hand it over to Riz to get us started.
Thank you, Olivia. This is Riz Mithani, and I'm a Senior Cloud Engineering Manager in our AI Center of Excellence, focusing on the modern data platform that Oracle offers. And with me, I also have Rajib Ghosh, who will be doing a more detailed technical deep dive into the topic along with a demonstration. And he's one of our very experienced master principal cloud architects, again, in the AI Center of Excellence. We'll go ahead and get started with this. So this series, which is called Day One and Beyond, is one of the Oracle webinar series hands-on, which we provide. But there are other series also. And when you get the slides, you'll be able to click on these links and explore the other series that Oracle has. But coming to the topic of the day, what we are going to cover today, we're going to start with some of the challenges that need to be overcome as you build out your data strategy and data platform. And some of this you might have heard before, and also the benefits that you achieve once you implement your data strategy and a data platform. We'll also talk about what is in the Oracle Modern Data Platform and why you may want to take a look at it. We'll have Rajib go into a framework for its implementation and also a detailed demonstration. And then I'll come back and talk about, once you have at least a high-level understanding, then if you want to adopt the modern data platform, then what are the ways that you can get started? So in terms of the challenges that, when implementing a data strategy or building out a data platform, like I said, you have heard these before, most of them, but just to level set here, when we're talking about there is data fragmentation, right? As your systems become more and more complex, managing and integrating them becomes difficult. With that data fragmentation comes challenges of security and compliance, because now you have your data distributed, and you still want to ensure that there's a robust security in terms of who can access the data, in terms of protecting your PII. All of these come into process. And then as your data estate grows, your real-time needs don't go away. I mean, you want that data as soon as it changes, you want to be able to show up in your analytics, in your machine learning, in any of the consumption that's happening of that data. With this, cost management also becomes important, right? It's the costs that are associated with the processing as well as storage of this data are critical pieces when you try to decide, how to implement your data platform and data strategy. And last but not the least, I mean, this is at the top of mind of everybody, right? AI is driving again people's decisions into, well, was my data strategy correct? Do I have the right data platform? So lots of organizations here are revisiting this, that their platforms are not really ready to implement AI. And when I talk to customers, I always say that, but the Gen AI, that's the easy part. I mean, the models work. It's the rest of the stuff you need to do to be able to use it in your enterprise. That's the harder part. So same thing that I just said, it's in this slide. As you're entering the new age of data and AI, you want to be able to achieve the full potential. We're talking about not just structured and traditional unstructured data like your documents, but now the whole document world has become even increasingly more complex, because you're talking about audio files, video files, images. All of these need to be processed and generated too. And so having a strategy for that. So what is your strategy for managing the data? You can look at it in, three different ways here, right? I can look at it in terms of, let's consolidate all my data in one place, or let me leave my data distributed. or I will stream this data as and when it's produced. You can't just have one or the other in today's enterprise. You have to have all of these three, because some data you'll consolidate, some you'll leave distributed, and some you're going to stream. So platform needs to be able to handle that. And then aggregating that data for various workloads, like you want to give access to your line of business for self-service, or you're building a warehouse or a lake, which is enterprise, and that needs also need to be fulfilled. And then, last but not the least, like I said, the AI and ML workload. So being able to take all that and your consumption, like besides self-service analytics or analytics that you embed in your applications, you want to be able to give the ability for people to build applications, whether they're mobile applications, whether they are low-code applications, or zero-code applications, or even then data APIs that you provide that can be consumed by various end-stream sources, as well as looking at monetization of some of this too in some industries and some enterprises. So why the Oracle Modern Data Platform? Helps you simplify the modernization efforts, right? The data platform can be thought of as a data pipeline, where as the data moves from left to right, it is consolidated, cataloged, analyzed, and then drives business benefits. Can accept data from any sources, whether structured, unstructured, batch, streams. It can handle the data movement and integration, including, of course, data from applications like Oracle Z-Business Suite or Fusion SaaS applications like ERP and HCM. But then the core is your data storing and processing. The database continues to innovate and provide the transaction processing that is needed, warehousing as well as the data lake. That's a fully managed cloud service that Oracle delivers to applications. So you think mixed load, on the autonomous database, or you can use MySQL that can also support both transaction analytics, or you can use OCI's Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, managed open source services like PostgreSQL, or you can go to the hybrid cloud and you can use data sources from other places. And that's the whole idea, to leave the whole platform open. And then you have the various services that we talked about. So it provides like 4 key benefits essentially. And this is what you're looking for, like we talked about earlier, right? And these 4 key benefits are, this is complete. So Oracle's portfolio ranges from software as a service, from SaaS to platform as a service to the infrastructure, right? That's a unified experience for all users. You can deploy anywhere. So Oracle offers the distributed cloud options, which gives you the deployment flexibility. I can deploy it on the cloud, or the cloud can come to you in terms of the clouded customer. This is fairly unique, right? If you have data sovereignty requirements in certain countries, things like that, then being able to put the whole cloud stack within your own organization and still get the benefits. And it's open and modular, designed to be open, right? We talked about any type of data, and you should be able to utilize your existing skill sets that exist in your organization. And intelligent. So there is AI at every layer, which is embedded, and also you should be able to develop your AI use cases at any layer that you want to. Rajiv is going to talk about the framework for implementation, but let me introduce a little bit of the platform itself, and what it consists of. So again, we're talking about your system of record, right? It can be your SaaS applications, ERP applications, coming from IoT sensors, social media feeds, any third-party applications, images, videos, all of this is on the left there. And the system of engagements, right, that enable the data engineers to collect and process, whether it's batch, whether it's streaming, whether it's using open standard Kafka. All of this is supported. And then you have your data that is within. So like we talked about, there's transaction processing, whether it's a lake, whether it's data warehousing, you're talking about Spark, Hadoop, and all of this being managed through a data catalog. So all in one place and having a unified single interface so that you can call these interfaces from not just Oracle's BI tool, which is Oracle Analytics Cloud, but third parties like Power BI, Lookup. If that's what you're used to using and that's what you like, you can continue to use. And then developing machine learning applications. We have a data science platform ourselves, but you can use any that you want to. And then doing application development, like I said, we have Apex, which is built within the database. That's low code, APIs, you can container managed if you want to build those type of applications, and full DevOps services. And those are your data products, but then driving actionable insights. If you're using Oracle applications, it's easy because those are pre-built from the data platform into business applications, but you can use all of these facilities to drive those insights right into your applications where the analyst or employees using those applications. So they don't have to go everywhere. The insights are right there in the applications itself. So we talked about that being open, unified, complete, and intelligent. So what does this consist of? From a physical set of services, these are the services that you have. You have services for your enterprise data, all the integration services, the patterns that we talked about, whether it be streaming or bulk ETL type integration, there are different services, the different database services and data lake services that comprise it, providing security and governance through our IAM service and data catalog, and then all the AI services which have pre-built model for vision, speech, language, Gen AI, the big data services, again, to support Spark and Hadoop workloads, and all the consuming services, as well as, to be able to build your data products and drive the outcomes. So the question generally you would ask is, wow, that looks like a lot. Do I need to use all of it? But the answer is no, you would use a subset of this based on your use case and based on your enterprise strategy that you have. With that, I'll hand it off to Rajiv.
Thanks, Riz. So I'll pick up the question which Rich just posed, that do you want to use all of it or not? And the answer is not, of course not. So what we do as part of this services mapping for Oracle Cloud is that we look at your enterprise architecture, the footprint which you have been using in your enterprise across all clouds, across on-premises, and then let you pick and choose with our guidance what makes sense for you in the enterprise, what Oracle services are there. And it could be in many different flavors, many different categories. And some of these are already there in the cloud, for example, like database services, data lake. Maybe you pick up ADW or MySQL Lakehouse, and maybe you need some OCI query service or big data service, or maybe Oracle Analytics Cloud you've been using in on-premise, you're familiar with it. So it could be many reasons. It could be technological reasons, your skill levels for the developers, whoever has been using it, and your forward-looking directions also as well. So those are some of the things which we typically discuss when we discuss data platform with our customers. And the unique thing about Oracle Data Platform is that being a multi-cloud, promoter in the cloud space, the data platform is uniquely designed to give you the services where your Oracle Cloud services fits best, and work with the other your multi-cloud and on-premise options. So with that, so this is the first step which we do, and then with that we will go into the next slide, where we will talk about a little bit about how the process of the modern data platform works. So this is an example. What he's showing is that when we engage with our customers at the very first, we engage with the C-level suites and the architects and also the senior people. We try to define or engage the customer that please define a use case, what makes sense, what are your priorities. And then this is an example of a medical staffing use case where we find that they have defined that they want the workload for care management. This is a sticking point in their priorities list, and then we kind of work joined hand in hand to find out the pillars on which is rest. How do we approach the problem? What is needed? Like the dashboard you need, or what is the actionable data which you have, what kind of data you have, and what kind of actions you want to perform as a business outcome. What kind of predictive analytics or what kind of destructive analytics, like machine learning models, for example, and then what kind of security and governance which you need. So just to let the foundation of the approach of the problem in a sense, so we agreed upon how to solve the problem. So this is the first step. Then I'm going to illustrate the detailed parts of the framework, which this is, if you can show the next slide, will give you a little bit of idea on the next steps, how we perform. So our Oracle Modern Data Platform, essentially consists of kind of, let's give or takes like 6 steps, right? The first part, which you have seen, that we engage and we find out the use case, your data footprint, your strategy, your architecture diagram, your forward-looking architecture diagram, roadmaps, all of these planning documents which you want to achieve and how you used to use your data platform at the enterprise level, right? And the outcomes as well. So, and then we discuss, like I showed in the previous screens, that what are the services which we provide. So this gives an idea about what we already have and what we kind of can be used in your enterprise as services, and what makes the best use and then the best benefit out of it. So we discuss that. That's a part of the mapping. And then we take your architecture, we map the same services on your architecture. A good example I can illustrate is, like, let's say folks have been using Azure, multi-cloud Azure services, or maybe a mix of Azure, AWS, and on-premise, or maybe something like that. So we take that whole architecture and we fit in the OCI services, which will actually give you a flavor of like how the services will interact in that scenario, how the services can be piloted in OCI, how it will work, and what benefit you would get from price, performance, and cost perspective. So that's the whole idea of our modern data platform. And typically we're geared to a multi-cloud scenario, and the reason we gear it towards that, being a late provider, we have the the studies and the experience with other multi-cloud providers, so we can gear your business outcome to a more definitive way of using the Oracle cloud services. So that's the thing. And if you see on the left-hand side, as we start going through the data platform discussions with the customer, we actually discover different architectural and proposal documents, and then we kind of deep dive into the logical architecture, service mappings in a much detailed level, and eventually come down to where you can touch and feel with your hands, which is the physical implementation diagram, where you get an OCI tenancy, you find out like who are your developers who are going to actually work on that and get meaningful results which can be shown, and that and then gets the price performance benefits. What works better, what has not worked better in your scenario, what will going to work better, what can be fitted, retrofitted, and things of that matter. And when finally, what is the cost from an overall enterprise perspective. So that's kind of the essence of what we call the modern data platform framework. And these are kind of the steps. Again, these are not set in stone. It can be modified, whatever the priorities may be, wherever you stand. Like Riz was showing earlier in slide, we meet where you are, right? So wherever in your journey, whether in OCI or in multi-cloud or you're on-premise journey, we meet actually at that place, analyze it, give you a picture of where you need to go based on where you need to go, and then kind of move from there. So the essential things I'll encapsulate in the next slide is basically a kind of a process. So this is a very rough way of doing. Again, it can extend to many different ways. But if you see in the left side, the use case is optimized medical staffing and care management, which has led to a notional architecture, which is the very high level architecture, usually in terms of business processes and which the customer is familiar with, what makes sense. We'll let the customer draw that kind of a diagram, and then it comes down to a logical architectural context along with jointly with the customer to frame out what are the services to be doing, how do they interact, what are the existing services, what are the problems which you have, what problems can be solved, and that's a logical architectural context. And finally, we get down to a detail where the developers can do hands-on, in a tenancy and develop the pilot, integrate the pilot with your existing, and then come up with something like a budgetary estimate for OCI services. So that gives an idea, like at a pilot level, and also at a level where you want to scale it down to production down the line, what kind of cost it would incur, and what kind of cost savings that you can incur also from moving certain services from other clouds to OCI and vice versa, right? So that's the idea behind the Oracle Modern Data Platform. This gives you a kind of a quick and easy workflow, but again, this can be modified when we jointly interact with the architects on the customer side, and then we can jointly develop from there. With that, any questions, feel free to ask in the chat box, but we'll have a demonstration to give you a flavor of how it works. And again, it's a very short demo, but it can be extended to any other use cases as well. So what you see on the screen is, basically a healthcare reduce patient readmission demo. And so basically, in the healthcare industry, it is very typical for any kind of hospitals or providers that to reducing the patient readmissions is a big thing, because it costs the insurance and the payers quite a lot. It costs the provider or the hospital doctors times quite a lot. And it is like the patients are coming back and back. And then, so there is basically a lot of cost and time from both patients, hospitals, providers, and the payers, right? So what we are going to do is we are using the Oracle Modern Data Platform to show you a complete open modular integrated thing, and then we'll have to see how the real-time analytics data is integrated with actionable insights which the provider or the payers can take from there. We'll show you some excerpts of some visualization, and with the Oracle Digital Assistant, which is a chatbot, and how automations can be made for the patients to have interactive interaction that is meaningful to it. So this is kind of an architecture. What you see on the left-hand side is a small set of sources where we are taking the Fusion HCM, which maintains the financials information data and HR information data, along with the EHR, which is the electronic health record medical information sources. So we took this integration and we basically bring that data into a framework where we have ingest, transform, curate, and analyze and predict that section of the modern data platform. As you mentioned, there are a whole bunch of integration tools, for example, Golden Gate or Oracle Data Integrator. So be it, there are many different ways of ingesting the data, along with different Fusion sources and adapters and things like that. Both from a structured and also from an unstructured data point. So Oracle data labeling illustrated here is in the form of an unstructured, where we do annotation of the unstructured data for any kind of predictive analytics purposes. So we have a whole slew of tools there. The data systems platform, where actual data processing happens, is basically shows you three things. The top one, autonomous data warehouse, where we process the structured data for analytics. We do the Oracle, object storage for analytics, and then we do the Oracle data flow for analytics, which is ingesting these streaming data and the object store for the kind of the unstructured data. So there are three ways of processing. And on the right-hand side of what you see is that Oracle Analytics Cloud, and then which is our Oracle flagship product for analytics. And what it does is or descriptive analytics, some form of predictive analytics, and the Oracle Digital Assistant, which is the conversational AI analytics. If we need more information on the more analytics actually on the on the predictive side. We have the tools like Oracle Data Science, for example, which takes care of that. So with that, it gives you a kind of a flavor. So we'll go into the actual demo, a short demo, and see that you see it is in the Oracle Cloud interface. You go to Analytics and AI, and then you can actually start pulling up. Shows you a different set of sources, and this is actually showing a healthcare executive dashboard, which we have built on top of this Oracle Cloud, where it is actually monitoring the patient readmissions. So as you see, there are like 171 admissions, and out of the 14 is the readmissions. And we are showing it by different month, the analytics of how this readmission thing is behaving, right, in the data platform. So left-hand side, it shows the readmission. By admission, you can see two spikes of the data where, it is spiking at certain days of the month. The middle one is showing that by different physician, which physician is having the higher number of readmission. And the third one is showing you by different forms of diagnosis on the patient side, who is having which kind of diagnosis is having leading to a lot of readmission rates. So this kind of information in a dashboard gives the provider a snapshot, right, where to focus, whether to focus on the diagnosis or who is to focus on the provider or the doctor, like that. This is another view where it is showing it for 3 months, where we are showing the readmission of a new prescribed medication. Like, when you introduce a new drug, what is the effect on readmissions, right? And also, like, what are the effect of comorbidities, which is basically the other kinds of diseases which the patient have on the readmission along, what are the effects? So you can see that COPD or renal failure, for example, in this case, is showing up that this is leading to a more higher form of readmission. So is like renal failure. So is like sepsis, but the others are not having that much of an effect. So this is valuable information for the doctors. This is valuable information for the hospital provider to make planning information and things like that. And also for the insurance industry, like for the payers, they want to know like which ones are having the higher readmission list, where do I have to make a planning for the financials? So total admissions versus readmissions by month is actually going to give you an idea for the insurance payers that where they need to do some planning. Similarly, by diseases, so they can also analyze by diseases or the comorbidities, like what percentage of the patient they can do the financial planning as such, right? And not only that, the recurrence of that event, like the post-discharge days, like between the other patient coming back immediately within 7 days or within 14 to 21 days or even after a month. So that helps the payer some kind of a planning to look at this from their perspective, right? And not only that, payers are paying different kinds of facilities as well, right? The rehabilitation facilities, the home health, and that involves different buckets of cost and different buckets of cost over a period of time. So they were trying to know, like, if a patient is coming from a rehabilitation facility back to home or is going back to a long-term care facility, what are the percentage of readmissions, right? Now in this chart, you can see there the rehabilitation to home is pretty high, but the long-term to long-term is quite medium low and from home to home. So which signifies the payer that, okay, I should put more of the money towards these kind of facilities and rehabilitation and things like that, as opposed to the home care. This is a dashboard which is being shown, another view where you are showing the different patient attributes and the readmission risk score from that perspective, from a medicine, from the patient and things like that. And since this is more patient-centric, so we have an Oracle Digital Assistant chatbot, which we're going to show you, where it shows the three things, like post-care, FAQ, and some follow-up, which actually interacts with the patients to she is to show you. So let's see some follow-up actions from the patients where the chat box is actually interacting and asking some kind of questions that, did you have anything and do you want to connect to a primary care provider after your discharge from the hospital? And then the patient says yes, right? Well, it's asking that whether do you have an appointment with a PCP? Have you scheduled an appointment with that? It is facilitating patients basically to make an appointment or gearing them so that he doesn't forget. He said no, and then the patient says that, well, you want assistant. It says gives you 3 times with your primary care persisters. It not only does that, it makes the appointment and gives you the time where it can do an appointment, but also it says that have you weighed yourself? Like, have you done some routine stuff before? And then he kind of makes decisions. So in this case, he's asking like, what about your weight? And then they said, no, I haven't. So what's your sharing your weight, current weight? So what is she's sharing like 143 pounds right now. And immediately the chatbot actually compares it with his medical history and says that, well, you are gained 3 pounds in a day, and that is causing a red flag, and then you should contact the PCP ASAP. And would you like to connect to this PCP or primary care provider right now? And he says, I've already made that kind of an appointment at that particular time. And then he would actually connect, the chatbot would connect the patient to the primary care provider upon his approval, right? So now the good thing about this is that in the heat map, which you see on the left-hand side, it was the second box was green, and now it just turned red, which means that the chatbot has just now updated the real-time spreadsheet with the provider receipt to red, just because he sees that as a higher risk patient based on the information is shared. So this is an advantage of the data platform where the real-time information is being uploaded and it's being seen by the provider as that. So this is a very short snapshot of, kind of what you're seeing it today as part of the modern data platform demo. There are many other flavors of it, but with that, actually, I would probably transition back to Steve and then and can answer any question on the chat bar, right?
Thank you, Rajiv, for the demonstration and going through the implementation framework prior to that. So now that you've understand, at a high level what the challenges are, what benefits you can derive, we also looked at the components of the modern data platform that help implement different data strategies and then an implementation framework, and you've seen a demo. So the last important question would be, okay, all this is great. What do I do now if I am interested and want to adopt this? So what are the ways I can get started? So in terms of adopting the modern data platform, you have different approaches you can take, right? I mean, again, let's talk about the key takeaways first. It's a complete and intelligent platform, right? It's there's a modular and open approach, and we meet where you are. So once you understand that, then there are probably more than 3 ways, but this is what we see with most of our customers as to where they start, right? You can migrate your data. So you can migrate the open source data platforms. You can migrate even to HeatWave, MySQL. This simplifies the operations, right? It uses the existing skills. So, or you can choose to start with modernizing the data platform, where now you're starting to access and interact with your data in completely different ways or new ways. So that would be either you're modernizing with analytics or you're modernizing your data lakehouse. Or you may have some of this, like I said, we meet you where you are. So depending on where you are and what you already have in place, whether it's in Oracle on-premise, whether it is some of it is already in Oracle Cloud, whether it's in other clouds like Azure or GCP, it shouldn't matter. We can design a platform and a strategy, where that makes sense, and you can develop it says AI-powered apps. So basically developing data apps, essentially, right, where you can innovate with the autonomous database. You can use low-code applications. You can, we have the Gen AI in the data platform. We have other AI services. So it just depends on where you are and where you want to start, right? So either you can start with a simple migration, modernizing the platform, or just innovation with apps. And None of these are right or wrong. It just depends on where you are in your journey and what you already have in place. Having said all this, there is obviously you got a very brief glimpse at a high level of a demo, but you can touch this, right? There are live labs that you can go to. If your focus is like many of the organizations we see is on AI applications today, then there's AI Solutions Hub that you can visit, and then there are details in the modern data platform itself. And again, you'll be able to click on these links when you get these slides and go to these details. We also offer, this is free, either a half day or a full day, modern data platform workshop. It's a sample agenda. We can customize this to your, specific requirements, but half day would not be hands-on. It would be more discussion and, presentation where you go through the concepts, especially the focus tends to be, this is our standard with AI, data science and machine learning, and then talk about the also Gen AI and data flow and the lakehouse and data integration. So we can give you a much more detail. So instead of getting this 1 hour, you're getting 4 hours plus of this. And we can do this on site or hybrid as a Zoom session, and some people being on site. So depending on how you organize a structured half-day program. But a lot of what we're saying is, we offer also a full day program where you can touch hands-on. So you can install these services that we talked about, some of them, and play with it yourself. So again, we prefer to do this on site. We can do it hybrid. There's no cost. And similar topics, but then there are hands-on labs in each of these. Right? You will see the different hands-on labs where you can use Gen AI, OCI data science, also the data integration, and then there are Oracle Analytics Cloud hands-on labs too. So we go through some of these concepts as well as in a full day you can get a lot more hands-on experience with this. There's more, we're talking about a subset of the Oracle Cloud and Oracle solutions here at the modern data platform comprised of the services that you see on the slide. But the cloud itself has a lot more things. There are more application development tools, the VMware, Kubernetes engine. There is a whole bunch of other services that are not really the data platform, but that consist of the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure platform itself, and you can get all the details. I'm sure most of you by now know that there's a cloud free tier also, which is always free, which you can use to play around with some of the services there. And for the first 30 days, you are able to play with a lot more services in that free tier. With that, we will coming to an end of the formal part of our presentation, and I think we've answered some questions, but maybe there are more.
Yeah, we answered a few questions. I think there are a couple of more questions. Maybe Rajiv, this is question for you. Any examples you can share on how to integrate Google Cloud Data Platform with OCI?
Yeah, good question. So this is a part of our multi-cloud, integration enablement. So we have customers, we have GCP credits and wanted to use the Oracle backend and the Exadata framework where the data resides mostly there. So we have a customer which has large production footprint for the financial industry, and but wanted to use the Google Cloud credits for the machine learning frameworks and all that stuff. So we enable that. We have done it with Azure quite a bit in multiple stages that you might have read through the press and other certification programs which we have. But yes, that is always a possibility. The main driving force behind this is that you should be able to use AI/ML wherever it makes sense for our support for the enterprise data platform.
Perfect. There's one more question. Maybe Riz, you can answer this. I think you clarified this. The cost of the cost that is incurred for modern data platform workshop, and if there are any prerequisites, can you talk a little bit elaborately on that?
Right. Yeah. So, our cloud engineering organization provides this, like I said, as a free service to be able to jumpstart, onboarding our customers to the modern data platform. But the commitment you have is, you should either have either a free or a pay-go OCI tenancy. so that we can use this live resources with you. And the workshop typically, like, the hands-on workshop, typically we try to do it in 1 day. It could extend to 2 days, depending on, if you have more detailed requirements that you want to touch and feel. But the advantage of doing this in your tenancy is that then all the artifacts, those are created, then you can keep using them essentially. So that's the only commitment from your side, but we don't charge for the teaching itself.
So awesome session. Thank you, Riz, Rajiv, and Raja. Really appreciate your help with this session. Our next session will be best practices to manage your database fleet with OCI Database Management on August 5th at 10 a.m. Pacific. So you can learn more about OCI's database management service, which is just a cloud native solution for monitoring databases deployed anywhere. And we will also have building Gen AI solutions on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure on August 6th at 10 a.m. Pacific. So hope to see you all there. Thanks, everyone.